450,000 years ago, a planet called Nibiru that had a long elliptical orbit arrived in our solar system. Nibiru is a planet inhabited with a technologically advanced human-like civilization called the Anunnaki. At that time, the atmosphere on the Anunnaki planet Nibiru was deteriorating. It was suffering from extreme global warming, and the only possible solution to the problem was to replace the protective layer in the atmosphere constructed by fine gold particles. It's said that their technology enabled the gold particle to effectively reflect infrared light and also be used as a shield against gamma and X-ray photons generated by nearby stars, which were scorching the surface of Nibiru. In the ancient mythology of Mesopotamians, heaven is divided into 3 domes. The lowest dome of heaven was the home of the stars, and the middle dome was the home of Igigi, the younger gods. The highest and outermost dome of heaven was personified as Anunnaki. Anunnaki used Igigi, the younger generation of ancient astronaut gods, as their servants and were forcing them to mine gold on Earth. But soon, the Igigi revolted to the demanding nature of work involved in the Anunnaki gold mines, and they burned their tools and surrounded the estates. When the Anunnaki realized that the Igigi were not going to give up the strike, they decided it was time for an alternative to their labor, and the solution was to create a new species that was obedient and intelligent enough to continue the gold mining operation. Some say the new slave species that Anunnaki created was us, human. Anunnaki created us using pieces of their own DNA, controlling our physical and mental capabilities by inactivating the more advanced DNA, which explains why only 2% of our DNA is active and the rest of 98% is considered as junk DNA. Human was created as a slave race to mine gold, thus beginning our global traditions of gold obsession, slavery, and God as dominating master. There are 3 main beliefs about the origin of human. 1. Creationism, that we're created by God. 2. Evolution, that we evolved from apes. And 3. Extraterrestrial creationism, that we created by aliens. This theory, extraterrestrial creationism, first came from Zecharia Sitchin, an eminent Orientalist and biblical scholar who was born in a Jewish family in Azerbaijan and grew up in Palestine, where he acquired a profound knowledge of modern and ancient Hebrew, other Semitic and European languages, the Old Testament, and the history and archaeology of the Near East. He graduated from the University of London with a degree in economic history and became a journalist and editor in Israel for many years before moving to New York in 1952. Sitchin was particularly interested in Sumerian civilization, one of the few scholars who was able to decipher the clay tablets, interpret ancient Sumerian and Akkadian, and he taught himself Sumerian cuneiform. After studying those clay tablets, he advocated a hypothesis in which extraterrestrial events supposedly play a significant role in ancient human history. In 1976, Sitchin wrote a series of books called The Earth Chronicles. The series consists of The 12 Planets, The Stairways to Heaven, The War of Gods and Men, The Lost Realms, When Time Began, The Cosmic Code, The End of Days, Genesis Revisited, and Divine Encounters. Sumer is the earliest known civilization in the historical region of southern Mesopotamia, located south-central of Iraq, and lived along the valleys of the Tigris and Euphrates. They were called the Sumerian. The origin of Sumerians is unknown. Most historians have suggested that Sumer was first permanently settled between 5500 and 4000 BC. They created cities, invented the wheel, arithmetic and geometry, irrigation systems, boats, lunisolar calendar, bronze, leather, saws, chisels, hammers, braces, lance points, arrowheads, swords, glue, water skins, bags, harnesses, armor, quivers, war chariots, scabbards, boots, and most importantly, beer. Many of the clay tablets that were reassembled from excavated fragments repeatedly describe about godlike figures called the Anunnaki, where it also explains that their origins are from another planet called Nibiru. Their first appearance on Earth was recorded to be around 450,000 years ago, according to the Sumerian tablets. Anu is the god of sky and king of Nibiru. Among his many children are the Anunnaki. The name Anunnaki is derived from An, the Sumerian god of the sky. The name is variously written, Nuna, meaning princely offspring or offspring of An. The Anunnaki were believed to be the offspring of An and his consort, the earth goddess Ki, sky and earth, or heaven and earth. No one knows how many Anunnaki there were, or what their divine function was. But what Sumerians knew and recorded was that the Anunnaki appeared to be heavenly deities with extraordinary immense powers and were often envisioned as being of tremendous physical size. The atmosphere of Nibiru needed to be repaired, and the material required to fix the atmosphere was gold. And mining gold on Earth was the best option for Anunnaki because of the vast quantities that could be found in one location, coupled with an atmosphere in gravity, which permitted the setup of mechanized mining rigs that could be operated for a considerable length of time in the habitable Earth environment. When Anunnaki arrived, the group of deities, led by Anu's son, Enki, traveled down onto the surface of Earth. The Sumerian En is translated to Lord, and Ki means Earth, Lord of the Earth. Enki was a god of wisdom, water, intelligence, magic, exorcism, healing, creation, virility, fertility, and arts. Anu had a daughter called Ninhursag. She was Enki's sister as well as his wife, and serpents always represent spiritual wisdom, life, and healing. So the first symbols of serpents were attributed to Enki and then Ninhursag. It is also known to us as the serpents in Genesis. When the Anunnaki descended to Earth, they brought another group of deities along with them called the Igigi, the younger beings and lower rank deities who were put to work mining for gold as the servant for the senior deities, Anunnaki. In Akkadian, Igigi is translated to watcher, and watcher is connected with biblical angels, and angels mean God's servants. But creationists and extraterrestrial creationists do not agree because in the Sumerian statue they were half human, half animals. However, Not too long after Igigi was sent to Earth for laboring, they revolted due to the demanding nature of work involved in the Anunnaki gold mines. So the decision was made to create primitive workers by using the existing gene of an animal and fusing them with Anunnaki DNA, so that a new worker could be intelligent enough to understand Anunnaki education and instructions as the new labor force used on the Anunnaki gold mines. They tried to develop primitive workers with many species, including prehistoric creatures, dinosaurs. Due to its tremendous physical capability, they were the perfect specimens for creating gold mining labor. Their remains or descendants may be the creatures we understand as the reptilians from modern urban legends. Anunnaki had also created the mythical creatures of the old. Mythical creatures like dragon, centaurs, and mermaids were constructed as specialized workers, but they were failure experiments as they had no reproductive capacity. So Enki, the god of wisdom and knowledge, devised mankind after the image of his kind, the Anunnaki. The goddess Ninhursag assisted by molding it in clay. Their brother, Enlil, the Lord of the Wind, gave it to life and intellect by adding his blood to their creation. Thus, the first human had come to life, Adam.